Adam Peters, the general manager of the Washington Commanders, spoke just as we were going off the air yesterday. And clearly, this is the inflection point of this draft. We've been talking about it. Daniel Jeremiah was a guest on What the Football with Susie Schuster and Amy Trask. That's up there for everybody to listen to on your podcast and your podcast Eargate, as well as checking it out on YouTube. He said flat out, the draft starts with the Washington Commanders because we're all saying Caleb Williams is going number 1 overall. And so clearly everybody's wondering what they're thinking of the Washington Commanders, fresh off of them having every prospect known to man inside their building in one get-together, one little family picnic. The Washington Commanders threw for 22 prospects. Could you imagine you're one of the prospects there, and you're looking around, and you're like, oh, man, I shouldn't have asked my buddy, is he coming to the Washington Commanders the other day? Because he's not there. Could you imagine you're one of those people, you know?
Are you going to Rich's birthday party? What party?
Right.
You're calling up.
Party? What are you talking about?
You're calling up your Snap, and all of a sudden you see Penix is in Ashburn, Virginia. You're not.
Thanks for the invite.
Well, at any rate, what'd you glean from it, Adam Peters? Where are you right now? What are you thinking? Because everybody wants to know what you're thinking so everyone else can make their draft moves.
Yeah, we're real close. There's still a few more things in the process we have to do. And as you guys may be getting, I'm pretty process-driven, process-oriented. So we have to debrief on our 30 visits with the whole staff, talk about everybody there. That we haven't done that yet. And then later tonight we have a medical meeting as well to go over all the medicals in the combine and get that information as well and just ask pointed questions if there are any. On certain players if we have some questions on that. So we have a few more things. DQ and I will huddle up and probably have an answer really sometime next week. Now, I will say this also, you don't really need to make a decision until you need to make a decision. So there's no rush with that. But I think we'll have a pretty good idea what we're doing early next week.
Yes, you will. They know what they're doing right now. I mean, process-oriented, I understand it. And it's going to take a lot to sift through the top 30 visits since they had 22 of them all at once this past week. How many staff members is that? Did one staff member get a kid? Were they like their own?
Like a chaperone?
Yeah, well, like a campus visit. You got somebody who welcomes you at the airport, picks you up, brings you in.
They didn't throw them all in a van, right?
Who knows? They threw everybody in the same top 30 visit.
Just one guy at the airport, and it's like 14 names.
Yeah, that's right. That Browns fan who had the jersey of all the names of the quarterbacks that Joe Thomas protected.
Daniels, May,
on one jersey.
Penix.
There you go.
It's like actors felt when they go to an audition and you walk into a room and there's 20 dudes that all look exactly like you and are dressed like
Dressed
you, and
the same way.
you're all up
I
for the
can't
same
get
role.
enough of this top 30 visit. I can't get enough of it.
Because it's so absurd.
It is. And
what are we doing?
And we'll ask Tom Pelissero what his reporting on all that is. And is it true that Daniels and Penix and McCarthy and May all shared a car, and they were all upset because Drake May packed a bag, and they had to wait for his bag to come off the carousel there at Dulles Airport.
That's what I want to know. Did somebody check a bag?
Who checked a bag? That's a red flag. I would not draft that person, as you know.
Like Sam Darnold wearing a hat.
That would be terrible.
I can feel it.
See, Brockman and I look at it as that person thinks critically and they think
They're
for
planning
themselves.
ahead. Yeah, they're planning ahead.
You know what, Chris? They all know. What if you got to go to a fancy dinner? What if you gotta go to the
In
Top
all
Golf?
honesty, I think it's just going to come down to what I heard at the Combine. Because an evaluation is basically the eye in the sky plus the medical. And then comes the rest of the stuff to grind the decision down to the ultimate, which is the decision you don't have to make until you have to make one, to use Adam Peters' phrase. And I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. And the reason why latest is because what Adam Peters had to say when he was asked about trading the pick. You heard Joe Shane, he was kind of open for business for the Giants, and you heard Elliott Wolf basically say, I am holding up a sign to say we are open for business for the 3rd overall pick here.
We'll trade for food.
Here's what Adam Peters said about trading the pick.
Adam, are you still considering trading down, or have you guys decided to use that number to pick?
we feel great about staying at number 2. I don't see a whole lot of scenarios where we trade down, to be honest with you. Yeah, we feel great about sticking there.
Yeah, I mean, because, his answer could also have been essentially, is Mike Ditka going to trade his entire draft to us? I don't think he's in somebody's draft room anymore.
No.
Honestly.
That really happened.
Can you believe that for Ricky Williams? My goodness gracious. I mean, seriously. So it's Jaden Daniels. It's going to be Jaden Daniels. I heard it was Jaden Daniels at the Combine. I heard that they loved him straight from the get-go. They loved his tape. And let's just see if the medical is going to check out. Let's just see if they learned anything kind of crazy between the Combine and the time when they have to make a decision. And I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. And welcome to the NFC East, Jaden Daniels. Jaden versus Dak. Jaden versus Jalen twice a year. And then Jaden versus Tommy Cutlets, Drew Lock, or J.J. McCarthy or Daniel Jones. And then let's see what this kid can do and go to work. And, as you'll hear from Tom Pelissero later on in hour number 2, based on the consensus of everybody, the two things that if there are red flags about him is he's slight of build and he takes hits. And the other thing is the way that he left Arizona State, but that's so many moons ago. But this stuff all gets parsed out and drilled down. Well, this is Jaden Daniels is going to be a Washington Commander. And then it's going to be Caleb Williams. It's going to be Jaden Daniels. And then the question is, do the Patriots like Drake May enough? Or do they get the Godfather offer from somebody who loves Drake May enough? Because they, unlike the Commanders, have a virtually empty cupboard. Because I did make this statement yesterday, and I'll repeat it again. And this is no offense. I don't intend to offend, but I just speak what I believe. Outside of Ramondre Stevenson, you look at the Patriots roster offensively, and I know this is not the metric by which you're measured to win games or not in the NFL. But how many players are you going to take in the top 10 rounds of your fantasy football draft currently on the Patriots offensive roster? You even looked at that, Chris. You even looked at that.
I looked it up the other day. ESPN some fantasy, rankings from like a month ago, and I think Ramondre Stevenson was the 18th running back, but then
Pop Douglas.
Yeah, Demario Douglas was 51 at wide receiver. And
he's got some ability,
but even that felt high.
Like I said yesterday, Hunter Henry would be.
But
Hunter Henry was the 25th tight end.
So that's top 10 rounds.
And again, fantasy and reality football are two totally different things because obviously, Hunter Henry's, these guys can bring blocking skills. They can bring special teams skills. They can bring, skills in the locker room, leadership and things of that nature. But that's just my way of saying, boy, do the Patriots have holes to fill. And if they can move down to 6, and they feel like somebody is going to give them enough capital to move off of Drake May and look Robert Kraft in the face inside that draft room and say, Mr. Kraft, trust us. Trust the process. We know what we're doing. And then maybe they move down and they do get J.J. McCarthy. I don't know. And move back up and get him. They move around just like what Arizona did. But later on, we're going to give you some draft nuggets about why Arizona might not trade out. They may not trade out at all. And the reason why may just be numbers. We'll talk about that. But I think I'm confident going into the weekend before the draft, into my weekend of the run. I'm running my 40-yard dash at the Rose Bowl on Sunday. stjude.org/runrichrun. Please give whatever you can for the kids of St. Jude and the folks who are researching at St. Jude to keep kids healthy. I'm fully confident. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and then the Patriots are on the clock. And we'll see what happens. I think if I had to guess right now, I think you got Drake May coming. And the Cardinals are on the clock.
Love it.
And we'll see what happens. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.